You will not believe what happens to the girl at the end. Make sure to like and subscribe so we can continue writing stories like this one. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.
The sun beat down on Dust Bowl Gulch, a town that lived and breathed cattle. Everything revolved around cows, from the morning moo to the evening branding. Mr. Bigsby, the biggest cattle baron around, owned half the town and acted like he owned the other half too. He was a large man with a booming laugh and a belly that strained against his fancy vest. He thought anything that wasn't about raising cattle was a waste of time. Young Elias, on the other hand, saw things differently. He was a skinny boy, barely taller than a calf, but his mind was always buzzing with ideas. He lived with his ma and pa on a small, struggling farm just outside of town. Their soil was dry and hard, making farming a back-breaking chore. Elias watched his parents toil from sunup to sundown, their faces etched with weariness. He knew there had to be a better way. That's why he spent every spare moment tinkering in their small shed, surrounded by scraps of wood and rusty tools. He wasn't interested in cattle, he was interested in making life easier for his family. He dreamt of a day when farming wouldn't be such a struggle, when the land would yield more with less effort. He spent weeks carefully shaping and carving, fitting pieces together, and adjusting angles. He was building something special, something he hoped would change everything. Finally, after weeks of work, it was finished. Elias stood back, wiping the sweat from his brow, and admired his creation. It was a plow, but not like any plow anyone in Dust Bowl Gulch had ever seen. It was made entirely of wood, carefully crafted and ingeniously designed to turn the tough soil with ease. He called it the Helper. He knew it wasn't much to look at, but he believed in it. He believed it could make a difference. He just needed a chance to show everyone else. Elias knew the Helper wasn't just about easing his own family's work. It was about a better future for everyone who struggled with the hard, unforgiving land. He envisioned fields of golden wheat swaying in the breeze, gardens overflowing with plump vegetables, and farmers smiling instead of sweating. "Ma, Pa," Elias said one evening, carefully wiping the grease from his hands, "I truly believe this plow can help. It's not just wood. It's a chance for us all." His ma, a kind woman with eyes as warm as the setting sun, smiled. "We know you've put your heart into it, son. We're proud of you no matter what." His pa, a man of few words but strong hands, nodded. "It's a fine piece of work, Elias. A fine piece of work. But folks around here, they're set in their ways. They trust what they know." Elias understood. Change was scary, especially when it came to something as important as farming. But he was determined to show them. "I want to take it to the county fair," he announced. "I want to show everyone what it can do." His parents exchanged a look. The county fair was a big deal, a place where farmers showed off their best livestock and produce. Taking a homemade wooden plow was a bold move, especially in a town like Dust Bowl Gulch. "It'll be a lot of eyes, son," his pa cautioned. "And not all of them will be friendly." "I know," Elias replied, his voice filled with a quiet determination. "But it's worth a try. Maybe, just maybe, someone will see what I see. Maybe someone will understand that the Helper isn't just a plow, it's hope." He wanted to help other families too. He knew there were plenty of folks like his own, working themselves to the bone just to put food on the table. If the Helper could make their lives even a little bit easier, then all his hard work would be worth it. He imagined families having more time to spend together, children having more time to play, and everyone sharing in the bounty of the land. This was his dream, and he wouldn't let anything stop him from trying to make it a reality. The morning of the county fair dawned bright and hot. Elias woke before the sun, his stomach fluttering with a mix of excitement and nerves. He carefully loaded the Helper onto a small cart, his pa helping him secure it with ropes. His ma packed a lunch of fried chicken and apple pie, whispering words of encouragement as she did. As they set off for town, Elias couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation. He pictured the fairgrounds bustling with people, the smell of popcorn and cotton candy filling the air, and the colorful banners flapping in the breeze. He imagined showcasing the Helper to a crowd of curious onlookers, demonstrating its ease of use and efficiency. He hoped to win a prize, maybe even attract some attention from farmers looking for a better way to work their land. When they arrived at the fairgrounds, Elias was immediately overwhelmed by the sheer size and activity. Cattle lowed in their pens, pigs grunted contentedly, and chickens clucked noisily. Farmers showed off their prize-winning vegetables, their faces beaming with pride. Children ran around, laughing and playing games. The air was thick with the sounds and smells of a celebration. Elias found a small, out-of-the-way spot to set up his display. He carefully unloaded the helper and placed it on a small wooden platform. He smoothed out the wrinkles in a hand-painted sign that read, "The Helper, a better way to farm." He took a deep breath and waited, his heart pounding in his chest. He watched as people strolled by, their eyes scanning the various displays. Some stopped to admire the prize-winning pumpkins or the perfectly groomed horses. Others chuckled at the antics of the farm animals. But no one seemed to notice Elias or his wooden plow. He started to feel a familiar wave of doubt creeping in. Maybe his pa was right. Maybe people wouldn't understand. Maybe the helper was just a silly dream. But he pushed those thoughts aside and reminded himself why he was there. He was there to share his vision, to offer a glimmer of hope to those who needed it most. He just had to be patient and wait for the right person to come along. Suddenly, a booming laugh echoed through the fairgrounds. It was Mr. Bigsby, the cattle baron, accompanied by a group of his cronies. They were heading straight for Elias's display. Elias's heart sank. He knew this wouldn't be good. Well, Mr. Bigsby bellowed, his eyes narrowing as he took in the helper. What have we here? A toothpick for giants. His cronies erupted in laughter, their guffaws bouncing off the nearby buildings. Elias stood frozen, his face burning with embarrassment. Looks like someone's been playing with their whittling knife. One of the cronies sneered. Is that supposed to be a plow? Another one cackled. Looks more like something you'd use to stir your coffee. Mr. Bigsby stepped closer, circling the helper like a hawk eyeing its prey. A wooden plow? What's next? A cow made of cotton candy. He let out another booming laugh, and his cronies joined in, their mockery echoing through the fairgrounds. Elias wanted to disappear. He wanted to crawl under the wooden platform and hide. But he stood his ground, his hands clenched into fists at his sides. He knew he couldn't let Mr. Bigsby's words break him. He had to stay strong, not just for himself, but for his family and for everyone who believed in him. Well, son, Mr. Bigsby said, his voice dripping with sarcasm, I appreciate the entertainment. But I think you'd be better off sticking to what you know. And what you know is nothing. He winked at his cronies and they all burst into laughter again. As Mr. Bigsby and his entourage walked away, Elias felt a wave of despair wash over him. The laughter followed him, stinging like a swarm of angry bees. He looked around at the other fairgoers, their faces a mixture of amusement and pity. He felt utterly humiliated. Had he been wrong? Was the helper just a foolish idea? Maybe Mr. Bigsby was right. Maybe he should just give up. Just as he was about to pack up his plow and go home, a quiet voice spoke from behind him. Don't let them get to you, son. Elias turned to see a tall, thin man standing behind him. He wore a simple suit and spectacles, and his eyes twinkled with intelligence. He didn't look like anyone Elias had ever seen in Dust Bowl Gulch. My name is Mr. Thompson, the man said, extending a hand. I'm from back east. Elias shook his hand, surprised by the man's firm grip. I'm Elias. I saw what happened, Mr. Thompson said, nodding towards the spot where Mr. Bigsby had stood moments before. Don't pay them any mind. They're just afraid of anything new. Elias looked down at his feet, kicking at a loose pebble. But it's just a wooden plow. Mr. Thompson smiled. It's more than that, Elias. I saw the way you built it. I saw the thought and care you put into it. This isn't just some whittling project, it's an invention. Elias's heart fluttered with hope. You really think so? I know so, Mr. Thompson replied. I've seen a lot of inventions in my time, and I can tell when someone has a good idea. This plow of yours, it's simple, it's efficient, and it's exactly what farmers need. He paused, taking a closer look at the helper. Tell me, Elias, what makes it so special? Elias's face lit up as he began to explain the features of his plow. He described how the curved blade was designed to turn the soil more easily, how the adjustable handles allowed for comfortable use, and how the lightweight construction made it easier to maneuver. He spoke with passion and enthusiasm, his voice filled with a newfound confidence. Mr. Thompson listened intently, nodding occasionally and asking thoughtful questions. He seemed genuinely interested in Elias's invention, and his encouragement gave Elias the strength to forget about Mr. Bigsby's mockery. Elias, Mr. Thompson said finally, I believe in your plow. I believe it can make a real difference. I'd like to help you get it patented and manufactured. Elias stared at him in disbelief. You would. Mr. Thompson smiled. I would. I see a bright future for you and the helper. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. He handed Elias a card. Here's my address back east. Write to me and we'll get started. As Mr. Thompson walked away, Elias clutched the card tightly in his hand. He couldn't believe what had just happened. After all the ridicule and humiliation, someone had finally seen the value in his invention. Someone believed in him. A wave of determination washed over him, stronger than ever before. He wouldn't let Mr. Bigsby's laughter define him. He would prove them all wrong. He would make the helper a success. Back on the farm, Elias couldn't stop thinking about Mr. Thompson's offer. He spent hours staring at the card, imagining a future where the helper was being used by farmers all across the country. But he also knew that turning his dream into reality wouldn't be easy. He needed to write to Mr. Thompson to explain his vision in detail and convince him that he was serious about this. He spent days crafting the perfect letter, carefully choosing his words and describing the benefits of his plow. He wrote about how it could reduce the amount of time and effort required for farming, how it could help farmers increase their yields, and how it could improve the lives of their families. He poured his heart and soul into that letter, hoping that Mr. Thompson would see his passion and commitment. While he waited for a reply, Elias continued to refine the helper. He experimented with different types of wood, trying to find the perfect balance of strength and flexibility. He adjusted the angle of the blade, trying to optimize its performance in different types of soil. He even added a small compartment for carrying seeds, making the plow even more efficient. His parents watched him work, their faces filled with pride. They saw the determination in his eyes, the fire in his belly. They knew that Elias was on a mission and they were fully behind him. They helped him in any way they could, offering advice, providing materials, and lending a listening ear. Even though Mr. Bigsby's laughter still echoed in his mind, Elias refused to let it hold him back. He used it as motivation, a reminder of what he was fighting for. He wanted to prove Mr. Bigsby wrong, to show him that even a skinny boy with a wooden plow could make a difference in the world. He knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult, but he was ready for the challenge. He had a dream, a vision, and the support of his family and a kind stranger. That was all he needed to keep going. He would keep working, keep improving, and keep believing in the helper. He would make sure that one day, farmers everywhere would be using his plow to cultivate their land and build a better future for themselves and their families. He just needed to be patient, persistent, and never give up on his dream. Weeks turned into months, and Elias continued to work tirelessly on the helper. He tested it in different fields, experimenting with various techniques to maximize its efficiency. He learned about soil types, weather patterns, and the specific needs of different crops. He became an expert in all things farming, absorbing knowledge like a sponge. One afternoon, as Elias was working in the field, he saw a familiar figure approaching. It was Mr. Thompson, stepping out of a shiny, new automobile. Elias's heart leaped with joy. "Elias!" Mr. Thompson called out, a wide smile on his face. "It's good to see you." Elias ran to greet him, his face beaming with excitement. "Mr. Thompson, what are you doing here?" "I came to tell you some good news," Mr. Thompson replied. "I received your letter and I was very impressed. I've secured funding to patent and manufacture the helper." Elias's jaw dropped. He couldn't believe his ears. You did?" "I did," Mr. Thompson confirmed. "I've already found a factory back east that's ready to start production. We can start as soon as you're ready." Elias was overwhelmed with emotion. All his hard work, all his dedication had finally paid off. His dream was about to become a reality. He looked at Mr. Thompson, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Thank you for believing in me." "You earned it, Elias," Mr. Thompson said, clapping him on the shoulder. "You have a brilliant mind and a strong work ethic. I have no doubt that the helper will be a huge success." They spent the rest of the afternoon discussing the details of the patent and manufacturing process. Mr. Thompson explained everything in clear, simple terms, making sure that Elias understood every step of the way. He treated Elias with respect and admiration, recognizing his talent and intelligence. As the sun began to set, Mr. Thompson prepared to leave. "I'll be in touch soon with more details," he said. "In the meantime, keep working on your design. We want to make sure the helper is the best it can be." Elias watched as Mr. Thompson drove away, his heart filled with hope and anticipation. He knew that his life was about to change forever. He was no longer just a skinny boy with a wooden plow. He was an inventor, an entrepreneur, and a visionary. And he was ready to take on the world. The next few years were a whirlwind for Elias. He moved back east, working closely with the factory to oversee the production of the helper. He learned about manufacturing processes, marketing strategies, and the importance of quality control. He absorbed everything he could, always striving to make his plow even better. The initial response to the helper was overwhelming. Farmers across the country recognized its value and placed orders in droves. The factory couldn't keep up with the demand. Elias's invention was revolutionizing the farming industry, making it easier and more efficient than ever before. Elias became a household name, his story inspiring countless others to pursue their dreams, no matter how improbable they may seem. He was interviewed by newspapers, featured in magazines, and even invited to speak at agricultural conferences. He always made sure to credit his parents for their support and Mr. Thompson for his belief in him. As the helper gained popularity, Elias's wealth grew exponentially. He became a successful businessman, managing his company with integrity and compassion. He always remembered his humble beginnings, never forgetting the struggles of the farmers who used his plow. He donated a portion of his profits to agricultural research, helping to develop new technologies that would benefit farmers even further. Back in Dust Bowl Gulch, things were changing too. The town, once solely focused on cattle ranching, was now embracing agriculture. Farmers were using the helper to cultivate their land, growing crops that had never been possible before. The town was prospering thanks to Elias's invention. Mr. Bigsby, however, was not doing so well. His cattle ranch was struggling and he was facing financial difficulties. He watched with envy as Elias's success grew, regretting the day he had mocked the young inventor at the county fair. He realized that he had underestimated Elias's talent and determination. He also knew that if he was to save his ranch, he needed to make a deal with Elias. Something he had once sworn he would never do. It was rumored he was going bankrupt. But Elias? He was doing better than ever. His life changed forever. One sunny morning, a fancy automobile pulled up to Mr. Bigsby's ranch. It was Elias, no longer a skinny boy, but a confident and successful young man. He stepped out of the car, dressed in a well-tailored suit, and walked towards Mr. Bigsby, who was standing on the porch, looking worn and defeated. "Mr. Bigsby," Elias said, extending a hand. "It's been a while." Mr. Bigsby hesitated for a moment, then shook Elias's hand. "Elias," he replied, his voice lacking its usual booming confidence. "What brings you here? I understand you're facing some financial difficulties," Elias said, getting straight to the point. "I'm interested in buying your South Pasture." Mr. Bigsby's eyes widened in surprise. "The South Pasture? But that's the best grazing land on my ranch." "I know," Elias replied. "That's why I'm willing to pay a fair price. A price that will help you get back on your feet." Mr. Bigsby considered the offer for a moment. He knew that selling the South Pasture would be a difficult decision, but he also knew that it might be the only way to save his ranch. "What do you want with it?" he asked. "You're not planning on raising cattle, are you?" Elias smiled. "I have other plans for it. Plans that will benefit the entire community." After a lengthy negotiation, they reached an agreement. Elias would buy the South Pasture from Mr. Bigsby for a generous sum of money. The deal was sealed with a handshake and Elias left the ranch, the deed to the South Pasture safely tucked away in his pocket. As he drove away, Elias couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. He had come full circle, returning to Dust Bowl Gulch as a successful businessman, buying the very land that Mr. Bigsby had once lorded over. But his intentions were not malicious. He wasn't seeking revenge. He simply wanted to use the land to create opportunities for others. He wanted to build a better future for Dust Bowl Gulch, a future where everyone could prosper regardless of their background or circumstances. And he had a plan to make that happen. A plan that involved Mr. Bigsby's former ranch hands. The next day, Elias placed an advertisement in the Dust Bowl Gulch Gazette. It read, "Seeking experienced farm hands for new agricultural venture. Competitive wages and benefits. Apply at the South Pasture." Word spread quickly through the town. Many of Mr. Bigsby's former ranch hands were intrigued by the offer. They had been loyal employees, but Mr. Bigsby's financial struggles had led to pay cuts and reduced benefits. They were tired of the long hours and the harsh working conditions. They longed for a chance to work for someone who valued their skills and treated them with respect. One by one, they began to arrive at the South Pasture, their faces filled with hope and apprehension. They found Elias waiting for them, a warm smile on his face. He greeted each of them by name, thanking them for their interest. I know you've all been through a lot, Elias said, addressing the group. Mr. Bigsby's ranch has been struggling, and I understand that you've all made sacrifices. I want to offer you a better opportunity. I want to create a farm where everyone is treated fairly, where everyone is valued, and where everyone can prosper. He explained his vision for the South Pasture. He wanted to transform it into a thriving agricultural center, growing a variety of crops using the latest farming techniques. He wanted to create a sustainable operation that would benefit the entire community. I know that many of you have experience with cattle ranching, Elias continued, but I believe that you have the skills and the knowledge to adapt to farming. I'm willing to provide training and support to help you learn new techniques, and I promise that you'll be paid fairly for your work with good benefits and opportunities for advancement. The former ranch hands were impressed by Elias's vision and his commitment to their well-being. They had never been treated with such respect and consideration before. They knew that this was a chance to start over, to build a better life for themselves and their families. One by one, they accepted Elias's offer. They were eager to join his team and help him transform the South Pasture into a thriving agricultural center. They knew that it wouldn't be easy, but they were confident that with Elias's leadership and their hard work, they could achieve anything. And so, the transformation of the South Pasture began. With Elias at the helm and Mr. Bigsby's former ranch hands by his side, the land that had once been used for cattle grazing was now being prepared for a new era of farming. An era of prosperity, opportunity, and hope. All thanks to a young boy and his wooden plow. From his porch, Mr. Bigsby watched as the South Pasture transformed. He saw his former ranch hands, now wearing bright smiles, working the land with enthusiasm and dedication. He saw them using the helper, Elias's wooden plow, to cultivate the soil with ease. He saw them planting seeds, watering crops, and tending to the land with care. He couldn't help but feel a pang of regret. He had underestimated Elias, he had mocked his invention, and he had lost his best employees. He had been so blinded by his own arrogance that he had failed to see the potential of farming, the value of innovation, and the importance of treating people with respect. One day, he decided to visit the South Pasture. He wanted to see for himself the changes that were taking place. He walked through the fields, his eyes wide with amazement. He saw rows of corn stalks reaching for the sky, fields of wheat swaying in the breeze, and gardens overflowing with vegetables. He had never seen anything like it before. He approached one of his former ranch hands, a man named Jed, whom he had known for many years. "Jed," he said, "what do you think of all this?" Jed smiled. "Mr. Bigsby," he replied, "I've never been happier in my life. Elias is a good man. He treats us well, he pays us fairly, and he gives us the opportunity to learn and grow. We're proud to be working for him." Mr. Bigsby nodded, his heart filled with a mixture of sadness and admiration. He knew that Jed was telling the truth. He could see it in his eyes, in his smile, in his entire demeanor. As he walked away, Mr. Bigsby couldn't help but reflect on his own life. He had spent so many years focused on cattle ranching, clinging to the past and resisting change. He had been so afraid of innovation that he had missed out on countless opportunities. He had been so focused on his own success that he had failed to see the value of others. He realized that Elias had not only transformed the South Pasture but had also transformed the entire community. He had brought prosperity, opportunity, and hope to Dust Bowl Gulch, and he had done it all with a simple wooden plow and a kind heart. Mr. Bigsby knew that he could never undo the mistakes of his past, but he could learn from them. He could start treating people with more respect, he could embrace innovation, and he could support Elias's efforts to build a better future for Dust Bowl Gulch. It was the least he could do. Years passed, and Dust Bowl Gulch continued to thrive under Elias's leadership. The South Pasture became a model farm, attracting visitors from all over the country who came to learn about sustainable agriculture and innovative farming techniques. Elias's company, the Helper Farms, expanded, creating jobs and opportunities for countless people. Mr. Bigsby, though still a cattle rancher, had undergone a significant transformation. He had become a strong supporter of Elias's work, often collaborating on projects to benefit the community. He had learned to embrace change, to value innovation, and to treat others with respect. One day, Elias was walking through the South Pasture, admiring the lush fields and the happy faces of his employees. He saw Mr. Bigsby approaching, a thoughtful expression on his face. "Elias," Mr. Bigsby said, "I wanted to thank you." Elias smiled. "For what, Mr. Bigsby?" "For everything," Mr. Bigsby replied. "For showing me the error of my ways, for transforming this town, and for giving me a second chance." Elias chuckled. You don't need to thank me, Mr. Bigsby. We're all in this together. They stood in silence for a moment, admiring the view. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the fields. The air was filled with the sounds of laughter and the sweet scent of growing crops. You know, Elias, Mr. Bigsby said, I still remember that day at the county fair. I remember laughing at you and your wooden plow. Elias nodded. I remember too. I was wrong, Mr. Bigsby admitted. You had a vision, a dream, and you never gave up on it. You proved me wrong, and I'm grateful for that. Elias smiled. It's all water under the bridge, Mr. Bigsby. What matters is what we do now. They shook hands, their eyes filled with mutual respect and understanding. They had both come a long way since that fateful day at the county fair. They had both learned valuable lessons about life, about success, and about the importance of kindness and compassion. As Elias continued his walk through the South Pasture, he couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude. He had faced many challenges, but he had overcome them all. He had proven his doubters wrong, he had achieved his dreams, and he had made a positive impact on the world. And it all started with a simple wooden plow and a belief in himself. A belief that even the smallest person can make a big difference. A belief that anything is possible if you never give up on your dreams. And so, the story of Elias and the Helper became a legend in Dust Bowl Gulch and beyond. It was a story about a young boy who dared to dream, who refused to give up on his vision, and who transformed his community through hard work, innovation, and kindness. Elias's legacy lived on long after he was gone. The Helper farms continued to thrive, providing opportunities for generations of farmers. The South Pasture remained a model of sustainable agriculture, inspiring countless others to adopt environmentally friendly farming practices. And Mr. Bigsby, forever changed by his encounter with Elias, became a champion of innovation and a strong advocate for treating others with respect. He often shared the story of Elias and the Helper, reminding people that even the smallest person can make a big difference in the world. The original wooden plow, the Helper, was placed in a museum in Dust Bowl Gulch, where it served as a reminder of the power of perseverance and the importance of believing in oneself. Children would visit the museum, gazing in awe at the simple wooden tool that had transformed a town and inspired a nation. Elias's story taught them that anything is possible if you set your mind to it. It taught them that being laughed at doesn't mean something isn't good. It taught them that kindness is always better than cruelty. It taught them that even the smallest person can make a big difference in the world. And so, the legacy of Elias and the Helper lived on, inspiring generations to come to dream big, to work hard, and to never give up on their visions. It was a story about hope, about opportunity, and about the power of the human spirit. A story that would be told and retold for years to come. A story that proved that even a skinny boy with a wooden plow could change the world. All he needed was a dream, a little bit of help, and a whole lot of determination. And maybe, just maybe, a little bit of laughter to fuel his fire. And that is the story of Elias, the cattle baron, and the wooden plow that changed everything. So, what can we learn from the story of Elias and his wooden plow? Well, there are many lessons to be learned, but perhaps the most important is this: don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something. If you have a dream, a vision, something you truly believe in, don't let the laughter or the doubts of others hold you back. There will always be people who try to discourage you, who tell you that your ideas are silly or impossible. But those people are wrong. The world needs dreamers, it needs innovators, it needs people who are willing to challenge the status quo and create a better future. And that person could be you. Remember Elias, the skinny boy from Dust Bowl Gulch who dared to build a wooden plow in a town obsessed with cattle. He was laughed at, he was ridiculed, but he didn't give up. He kept working, kept believing, and kept striving to make his dream a reality. And in the end, he not only proved his doubters wrong, but he transformed his community and inspired a nation. He showed everyone that even the smallest person can make a big difference in the world. So, the next time someone laughs at your ideas, the next time someone tells you that you're not good enough, remember the story of Elias and the Helper. Remember that being laughed at doesn't mean something isn't good. It might just mean that you're onto something truly special. And remember, kindness is always better than being mean. Mr. Bigsby learned that lesson the hard way. It is better to lift people up than to push them down. It is better to encourage dreams than to crush them. It is better to believe in others than to doubt them. Because in the end, it's not about how much money you have or how much power you wield. It's about the impact you have on the world. It's about the lives you touch, the dreams you inspire, and the kindness you spread. So go out there and dream big. Work hard. Never give up. And always remember to be kind. Because you never know when a simple wooden plow or a kind word or a helping hand can change the world. That's the moral of the story, and it's a lesson that we can all learn from.